What you guys, got another video on the best settings for your monitor for your PC. Now, if you've got a monitor, most people don't know how to set it up with all the settings and things like that. So I thought I'd make a video on that for you. But first, let's have a word from today's sponsor. If you're looking for a cheap Windows 10 Pro OEM key, then check out CD Key Sales. Use my promo code B R09 and submit your order. Once you get your key, you can head over to the activation center, paste in your key, and then activate your version of Windows 10 Pro. All the links will be in the video description. So let's take a look at how we can go about configuring our monitor. So first thing you want to do, which is probably one of the most neglected parts, is to go over to Device Manager by right-clicking on the Start button and hitting Device Manager. Inside here, we're going to go for the monitors here, and as you can see, generic PNP monitor. This is pretty common. Most people don't download the drivers for their monitor. These are really old generic drivers which Windows puts in, and you can see they're from 2006. So you really want to download the drivers from the manufacturer's website of your monitor, and this will help enhance your monitor in some way. I don't think it's just a driver to make it work. Otherwise, they wouldn't make a driver for it if that was the case. And again, the new driver is for 2018 compared to 2006. So there's got to be something in that driver that will enhance your monitor. So that's why we're going to go ahead and download the actual driver. So do a search on Google for your make and model number of your monitor. Make sure you get the right one. Head over to the manufacturer's website and download the driver for that monitor. And then I'll show you how to install it. It's an INF file. So we need to extract all of these files and put them onto our desktop. So I'm going to drag and drop these over to our desktop so we can then install this on our PC. So let me just grab all of these files and drag them over to my desktop. So all we need to do now is open that folder, and down here you're going to see an INF file, and you can right click on this, go to show more options on Windows 11, and you should see install here. So click on the install. Now, if you don't see an install, you need to navigate to that file on your monitor settings in Device Manager and browse to it and then install it that way. Once that's done, you can then go back over to your Start button, right click, go Device Manager, and then check out your monitor here to make sure that the driver has got installed correctly. And you can see under monitors, we now have the name of the monitor. So I don't think it's just a name, it's an actual driver for that monitor, and it's now installed correctly. So once we got this done, if you check the properties of it, you will see that the driver date has now changed. That means we're using a more up-to-date, more modern driver for it instead of a generic driver that was being issued by Microsoft. Now on the back of your monitor, you're probably going to have a little joystick here. And if you look at the top of this monitor, it tells me that we're in 1920 by 1080, 144 Hertz, gaming mode, and we're also in FreeSync is on, and we're using a DP cable. A lot of people have trouble getting 144 Hertz, and that's because they're using a HDMI cable that is not compatible, and it's going to always cause you issues. If we look at the gaming mode here, you can see we've got frames per second, racing, RTS, and RPG. Because it's a gaming monitor, these are presets that will allow you to select one of these when you're playing that particular type of game, and it's going to give you the best experience when you're playing that game. Looking at the black tuner here, this is going to add more blacks to the monitor. Also, the response time, you can set this as normal, fast, or the fastest. I have this set on normal. If you go to fastest, you will lose a bit of light on the monitor, but I prefer to just leave this on normal. Moving on to anti-motion blur, I have this set to off. If you wish to use it, you can toggle this on. Refresh rate, I have this also off. If you want to turn that on, you can do, but I have it off. Alarm clock is pretty much self-explanatory. It's an alarm clock. And we also have these crosshairs here, which you can enable if you don't have a crosshair in the game and you want to enable one of these. Some people use those. I don't use them. So also FreeSync. Now, if you've got a G-Sync monitor, or whether you've got adaptive sync or FreeSync, you want to turn that feature on. Once you turn it on, I'll show you how to enable it on the PC. So always turn those features on if you can use that feature. This is an Nvidia setup, so it's not going to work with FreeSync. So you can see here, we've got also Pro Mode, Eye Saver, HDCR, Anti-Motion Blur, and Image Enhancements. That's set to medium. I leave it on medium. Some people turn it off because they say it just destroys the quality of the image, what you're looking at on the monitor. I prefer just to leave it on normal. So moving on down to image here, we do have an image setting here. So let's go here. And this is for your brightness, your contrast, your sharpness, color temperature, and your screen size. So depending on how you want to set yours up, you can set this up inside here. Everyone's going to have their own preference to what they like, their contrast on, brightness and things like that. You can use a calibrator to get all this correct, and I'll show you that a little bit later on. Make sure your input source is using DP and get a DP cable. If your monitor doesn't support it, then you'd have to use an HDMI cable, but make sure you get the one that supports 144 Hertz. Otherwise you're going to run into trouble trying to get that enabled on your PC. So once you've got all those set up, you can move over to your PC. So once you move over to your PC, you should be able to go right click and go to your display settings here. Once you get onto your display settings, you want to go down to where it says advanced display. Click on this one here, and you should see on the right hand side here, choose your refresh rate. This needs to be on the highest refresh rate available for your monitor. Mine is 144 Hertz, so I'm going to enable that and keep these changes. If you can't enable it, then it's probably because you're using either the wrong cable or you've plugged it into the wrong port of that monitor that doesn't support 144 Hertz, and you'll need to check that with your user manual. So close that off, and we can move on to the next step, which is right clicking and going to show more, and then going to Nvidia control panel. If you're using an AMD card, then obviously you need to go into your AMD control panel. We're looking for setting up our G-Sync here. Now, if you have G-Sync, then enable it. If you've got an adaptive sync, then you want to enable that. Or if you see a FreeSync on your AMD system, you need to enable that feature. This monitor doesn't support G-Sync, it only supports FreeSync, and this is an Nvidia card, so I can't enable this feature because it won't work, because that is for AMD systems. So only G-Sync will work on this system here, and unfortunately this monitor is not a G-Sync monitor. Now, we're talking about calibration of your monitor and getting the colors right. This is not an essential part for gaming, but if you do want to do it, you can search online for some sort of calibration file which you can use. Now, what this will allow you to do is get the most enhancements out of your monitor. You can download the ICC profiles for that monitor if you can find them, and you can put them onto your monitor by using the color management built into Windows. I'll show you that in a second, but hopefully you find an ICC profile file which you can use. You can then go to color management and then click on this, and you should see color management here. You can use my settings for this device, put the tick in this box here, and then you can go down to the add button, add, and then you will see the ICC profile that you've just downloaded. You can then browse for it and import that into your settings. And this will basically use that ICC profile that's been set up. And you should see a nicer enhancement on your color on your monitor. And that means you've had it calibrated. You can also use something like this, which I've done a video on before. It's from Data Color. It's called Spider X Pro, and it's basically an advanced monitor calibration tool. You basically put it onto your monitor, and it will literally do the best settings for that monitor, and you can set it all up using that tool. It's very, very useful. Anyway, that is going to be about it for this video. Hope this video has been some sort of use to you. So if you've got a gaming monitor, whatever make or model it is, always set it up correctly, and that's basically the best way to set your monitor up. My name has been Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. Big shout out to my YouTube members who have joined my YouTube members group. Your names are rolling up on the screen right now. Have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye for now.